Mr. Patel, I was a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how.
So I was a fake one?
And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless that judge
your testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York is recognized. Mr. Goldman.
Mr. Patel, does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It's not a complicated question. Does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files?
I didn't say it was a complicated question. I just didn't hear you, so my apologies. We have released where President Trump's name's in the Epstein files and everybody else, and all credible information that we are legally allowed to release has been released.
All right, so let's go through that. You're referring to court orders that prohibit you from releasing grand jury testimony under Rule 6E. Is that what you're referring to when you say as the law allows?
That's a piece of it.
Really? What other evidence do those three court orders you cited prohibit from being released?
Information that was collected pursuant to those search warrants that were limited in fashion.
Wrong. That's not what the court order says, and that's not under 6E.
And you're talking, and I said that's 6E, and I said there was others, and I'm answering that there are sealed court order documents. There are protective orders.
They are unsealed as part of discovery given to Ghislaine Maxwell. They are no longer sealed.
That's just not true. We can argue about it all you want.
Okay, well, you agree that there are, so your testimony here is that the reason why you are not releasing all of the videos that you have acknowledged, there are so many, and that the FBI spent thousands of hours of reviewing, the photographs, the photographs that you have. You're saying that you're not releasing those because there's a court order requiring them to be sealed? Is that your testimony?
Never said that about the videos. On the totality of the videos, of the thousands of images that were seized pursuant to the search warrants executed at the time, the overwhelming majority of that video is pornographic material that was downloaded from the internet and child sexual abuse material. We will never release that.
Well, as you should not release the victims, but if there are videos that relate to others who Epstein trafficked to, such as maybe Prince Andrew, or photographs, that you have total control to release.
Yes, and if it exists.
And so why haven't you released it?
Why are you supposing that that is a fact when in fact it is false? Are you saying that
you're saying that none of the videos relate to anything relevant to the Jeffrey Epstein trafficking ring?
Every single video that we have collected pursuant to the prior search warrants has been examined for the last 10 years. And every single video has been utilized for whatever prosecutions were able to be legally brought.
I'm not asking about prosecutions. I'm asking about why you aren't releasing the full Epstein files, including the names of people who were involved in the sex ring that you promised to do before you became FBI director.
I just told you, I'm not going to release downloaded porn of
I'm
children
not asking
on the
about
internet.
that. Fine. I'm asking about all the other files.
What other videos? Tell me. Tell me.
That's what I'm asking.
Tell me.
You're saying there are no videos that would be relevant to anyone else involved in the Jeffrey Epstein sex ring.
Pursuant to Mr. Acosta's collection of information based on the search warrants. That's all we have in our possession.
And I'm asking you, that stuff.
That's all we got.
I'm not asking all you got. I'm asking you, in that stuff, there's nothing that's related to any other sex traffic, any other people engaged with Epstein in underage sex.
That's correct. To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Let's talk about the witness interviews. 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the redacted names of the victims?
We are releasing as much as legally allowed. That's why we went back to the courts.
How is that not legally allowed?
Sir, do you know how court orders work? Do you know how protective orders
Actually,
work? Do you know how
Mr. Patel, I was a real prosecutor for 10 years. I know exactly how
So I was a
court
fake
orders.
one?
And I want to understand what the court order prevents you from releasing witness statements that the FBI took.
You should know that as a real prosecutor, when the court hand downs a protective order and a motion to seal, the material is sealed unless
So
that
your
judge
testimony
waives
here
it.
is that all of those witness statements are under a court order, a protective order.
We are providing everything we can legally provide.
No, that's not my
Congress has
question.
sent us a
My
subpoena.
question is, why are those witness statements that are not grand jury testimony, that if they were under a protective order are no longer under a protective order, why are they not being released?
How are they not
And
under a protective
Why
order?
are you not going to the court like you did for the grand jury testimony to unseal those
The
records?
DOJ did go to the court.
No, not on those records. Why
time
aren't
of
you
the
going?
gentleman.
You just went on grand jury.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The
You are hiding the Epstein files,
time
Mr.
of the gentleman
Patel.
has expired.
You are part of the cover-up.
Can I respond?
Sure can.
Any allegations that I'm a part of a cover-up to protect child sexual trafficking and victims of human trafficking and sexual crimes is patently and categorically false in the work of my
So I hope you will talk to them when they
Gentlemen's
have
time has
requested
expired.
to speak with you. Because
Gentlemen's
the
time has
victims have
expired. Gentleman
requested
yields
and you are
back.
not responding to them.
Director, yes or no? Is the
Today we are looking at a tense exchange between Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman of New York and Trump ally Kash Patel over Jeffrey Epstein, his trafficking network, and the files and evidence that the FBI and Department of Justice still refuse to fully release. Dan Goldman just did what Republicans have refused to do. He put Kash Patel on the record about the Epstein files, asked him directly whether Donald Trump appears in them, and refused to let Patel hide behind legal jargon. Goldman starts with a simple question. Does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files? Patel stalls, claims he did not hear, and then says that anywhere Trump's name appears has already been released along with all credible information they are legally allowed to release. That vague phrase is exactly what Goldman targets. Drawing on his experience as a real federal prosecutor, Goldman presses Patel on what legally allowed actually means. Patel points to grand jury secrecy and court orders, but Goldman notes that those limits are narrow and do not cover everything. Patel tries to stretch those orders to suggest his hands are tied on a broad range of evidence. Goldman pushes back and makes clear that is not what those orders say. Then Goldman moves to the videos and images seized in the Epstein investigation. The FBI spent thousands of hours reviewing them. Patel claims most of it is downloaded pornography and child sexual abuse material that will never be released. Goldman agrees that victims must be protected. He is not asking to publish abuse footage. He is asking a different question. If there are videos or photos showing people Epstein trafficked victims to, powerful people like Prince Andrew or others, why are those not being released with victims' identities protected? Patel's answer is essentially that there is nothing relevant to release. He insists that every video has been reviewed over the past decade and that nothing shows anyone else engaged in underage sex that they can release. For many listening, especially Democrats, that is simply not believable. The idea that Epstein's entire operation left no usable footage implicating anyone else is exactly why Goldman accuses Patel of hiding the truth. Goldman then turns to something even harder for Patel to excuse away: witness interviews and FBI 302 reports. These are not grand jury transcripts and are not automatically covered by Rule 6E. Goldman points this out and asks why those statements are not being released with victim names redacted. Patel repeats the same line that they are releasing as much as they can. Goldman calls him on it. He reminds Patel that when a court issues a protective order, the government can go back and ask to unseal materials, and DOJ has already done that for some grand jury information in this case. So if Patel truly wanted transparency, why has he not gone back to court to unseal witness statements and other records? Patel never gives a clear answer. He keeps hiding behind the existence of court orders instead of explaining why he is not challenging them. Goldman's point is simple. If you care about the truth and about Epstein's victims, you use every legal tool to unseal as much as possible. You do not use legal process as a shield. As his time expires and the Republican chair tries to shut him down, Goldman delivers the line that sums it all up. He tells Patel, "You are hiding the Epstein files. You are part of the cover-up." Patel denies it and claims it is false to suggest he is protecting traffickers, but he cannot change the fact that key evidence, witness interviews, and names are still hidden and that DOJ has not aggressively moved to unseal them. Goldman also points out that victims have asked to speak with Patel and have been ignored. That cuts through all the legal talk. If Patel truly cared about justice, he would meet with the survivors and work with them to bring the full truth out, not leave their requests unanswered. From a Democratic perspective, this clash is about equal justice under law. No special protection for Donald Trump, no special protection for billionaires, princes, or political allies. It is about real transparency, using the courts to unseal records, releasing non-victim evidence, and finally exposing the full network around Epstein. Republicans and MAGA allies love to invoke Epstein as a talking point, but when it is time to release the files, they suddenly discover limits and excuses. Dan Goldman exposes that gap. He shows who is actually demanding accountability and who is still trying to keep the public in the dark. If you believe the Epstein files should be fully released, with victims protected and enablers exposed, this hearing makes it very clear who is fighting for that and who is not.